Ladies and gentlemen, this is the New York Post. Where's this New York Post headline? Federal probe into Hunter's tax affairs reportedly moving ahead. New York Post by Mark Moore. The federal probe into Hunter's tax affairs is plowing ahead without any interference from President Biden's White House. Prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware are, quote, treating it seriously. And they have, quote, not heard from the White House or Judge Merrick Garland, the president's nominee to run the Justice Department, Fox News reported. Garland told the Senate Judiciary Committee during a confirmation hearing that last week he hadn't discussed the Hunter investigation with the president. Quote, I have not, Garland told senators. The president made abundantly clear in every public statement before and after my nomination that decisions about investigations and prosecutions will be left to the Department of Justice. So now we know what that really means, but here, the Attorney General nominee told the panel that he understood the probe was proceeding discreetly. Of course, it was very discreet. The U.S. Attorney for Delaware, who was overseeing the investigation, was asked to remain on the job last month, even as the Biden administration requested the resignation of other U.S. attorneys appointed by former President Donald Trump. Now, we still have the Durham probe special counsel. So, I mean, until we get to 2022, where we're going to have Republicans take over the House, hopefully the Senate, you'll have Trump populist Republicans. You'll have people like Devin Nunes, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, who don't want never-ending conflict, who want a reversal of U.S. foreign policy of the past 16 years prior to President Trump. Trump was removing Americans from never-ending conflict. It's a good thing. That's a populist message that these Republicans want, that these new type Trump Republicans, whatever you want to call them. They're not never-Trumpers, they're not Republicans in name only, they're not one side of the same coin. You know, it's interesting. Cheney and Kinzinger and others voted alongside, Mitch McConnell voted alongside President Trump, according to 538, over 90% of the time. Over 90% of the time in Congress, they voted alongside Trump. They just don't like his personality. And President Trump gave them that. Like I said, he should have just toned it down a little bit. It doesn't matter when we're talking about Hunter's tax probe, it's all-encompassing in terms of, or I should say, there are issues that need to be addressed that perhaps this investigation will not. That could be addressed by, in 2022, investigations taking place in the House of Representatives. See, they had to fabricate investigations of Trump. They don't even know what they're looking for. We had already a trove, an endless stream of emails that the New York Post published. Thanks for helping us meet your father, even though the president stated that he did not meet with his son and other business people. He lied through his teeth numerous times. Then there was one of the emails from the board of directors. Oh, how can you help us use your influence for the company? They didn't hire Biden's son because of his expertise. He didn't have any expertise in oil and gas. That's different from nepotism. Nepotism is you have a family business, and Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are running the family business. There's nothing wrong with that. What is a risk to national security is a son who leaves a laptop at a computer repair store, maybe in a drunken stupor, and that laptop has incriminating emails pointing directly to the point man for Ukraine. President Obama's point man for Ukraine, and even Marie Yovanovitch during the impeachment trial said, oh yeah, by the way, President Obama's administration asked me, what did they say? Told me any questions pertaining to Joe Biden and his post as the point man for a certain country, and any questions about his son on the board of directors, well, refer that to the vice president's office. So, I mean, they already knew that there were conflicts of interest. But hit subscribe to this channel right now. By the way, I will have a live stream tonight at around 9:30 or 10 p.m. Pacific. So be here. I think I'm going to do the 3 uploads every day before the live stream. I've been doing earlier live streams, but I think I'll do the 3 uploads every day and then end the day with a live stream. It's something I used to do. So be here for the live streams. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting my voice. It is so difficult. As you can see, I mean, I'm a relatively small channel approaching 200,000 subscribers. It would be great when we hit 200,000. And I'll be able to do a whole bunch of things. I'm working on something really, really special that you'll love, that will really do very well, especially once I hit 200,000 subs. But you can look every political channel that has with any support of President Trump, or even a conservative vantage point. It's interesting. I'm a progressive. I used to be a progressive who now supports President Trump. So I have a liberal or left-leaning viewpoint on immigration, for example. I have friends who are dreamers. I want them to become citizens. But I have a conservative viewpoint on the Second Amendment. I have what used to be a liberal viewpoint on bringing home Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I want every American home from being stationed in regions of the world we shouldn't even be in. So when President Biden engages in a foreign policy tactic that's horrendous within a month of his presidency, that reminds me why I voted for Trump. That reminds me. But here, quote, I learned yesterday for the first time that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware advised my legal counsel also yesterday that they are investigating my tax affairs, he said in the statement. So he made that in December. The investigation also involves a laptop belonging to the president's son, which was first reported on by the Post in a series of exposés that contains communications and documents surrounding his business dealings in numerous countries. Documents retrieved from the laptop also linked President Biden to those deals. Look, there are two standards of journalism. If there's anything incriminating towards a Democrat, they do everything humanly possible to sweep it under the rug. They play devil's advocate. They say, well, you know what? We can't possibly look at these emails. We don't even know if they're genuine. Are you kidding me? The Steele dossier was literally purchased by Clinton and compiled by people that she hired and the DNC hired. So they used a Steele dossier that not only to investigate President Trump, but it was filtered through the United States government, and liberal publications published the dossier. Comey's memos, how on earth do you know they're accurate? There were no disclaimers or caution warnings or, disclaimers saying this is a disputed claim. Comey is no longer a federal employee. You never had that. You never had, the dossier with an incoming presidential candidate or an incoming president is said to have been a Moscow hotel room, but that's not true at all, or there's no evidence. Where the baseless allegations are leveled against Trump, and they don't care. Trump makes baseless allegations. Oh my God, you hear the outrage throughout the universe. But you need investigations in the House. They're not going to run the House forever. Democrats will not run the House forever. And when the Republicans had it with Paul Ryan, they didn't want to investigate. They were part of setting up and framing Trump. Pelosi is not the adversary of Trump or you. Neither is Schumer. And I'm telling you, yes, obviously they're opposition. The true adversary are Republicans who investigated Trump on a lie, an absolute hoax perpetuated by wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats. And they say, he does a certain type of activity with Putin, Trump, that makes Putin feel really good. I'm trying to speak I'm trying to speak in an algorithmically friendly manner. He does a certain type of activity where Trump needs mouthwash after the activity. And it's like, well, when was the Cold War over? Or is it just started after because Clinton wasn't able to get the White House? They created this hoax and this fabricated absurd nonsense, this fantasy, this tinfoil hat fantasy that said Trump worked with Putin to buy Facebook ads to inform the country and infiltrate the DNC to let everybody know that Bernie Sanders was railroaded and completely thrown under the bus. But don't expect Bernard Sanders to say anything because he's not even getting the stimulus check that he wants. He's not even getting the Green New Deal legislation. He's not getting a Medicare for all. He's not getting universal basic income. He's not getting Bupkis. He's not getting nothing. When the Messiah comes, maybe he'll get something. But until then, he's going to funnel votes back into the Democratic Party with AOC. All those apoplectic, morally superior progressives, especially the ones that Bernard Sanders couldn't endorse or did endorse but had to unendorse because the movement's bigger than him, who shall remain nameless. That type of individual, those types of policies, and those types of voters are then funneled back into the Democratic Party because you've never seen a tyrant and a despot and an authoritarian more egregious than Donald J. Trump. The most horrendous example of an orange monster we've ever had in our lives. Anyway, Bernie is, the whole thing's a racket on the left, but see again, they are a finely tuned political machine. Republicans don't really have a political machine. They don't even have a political party. Now you have the Wall Street Journal today saying, well, if Trump was so good, well, then why did... Yeah, well, if Trump was good, he had everyone against him. Look, you cannot enjoy life. You cannot... Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, all of Hollywood on Twitter, most of Twitter, all the social media algorithms, you can't talk about certain subjects. You couldn't even talk about Hunter's emails, which was a legitimate journalistic, it was a moral imperative if you were a journalist to talk about that. And of course, journalists didn't. If it was about Trump, an anonymous quote which had no bearing, no semblance, no link to reality, stating that Trump disparaged fallen Americans. He wanted to remove Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and quagmires. You see what they do? They have this warped public relations notion from the Lincoln Project, a group that's completely disgraced, that it was Trump who disparaged Americans while they want to keep Americans off into never-ending conflict in countries thousands upon thousands of miles away. Again, President Trump has to learn from his mistakes. He has to learn from his mistakes. He gave them everything that they needed to try to, he gave them everything they needed to kind of, to go after him. Even though they set him up and framed him, and then they impeached him twice, and then every single day was, oh my God, President Trump, this, that, and they don't scrutinize Biden in the same manner. They actively prop up the president that they want. This is not even up for debate, and even they know it, and they don't care. They wake up every day thinking that there's a moral crusade. It is good versus evil. It is... it is morality. Good versus bad. Their spiritual sustenance is derived by going after supporters of President Trump or Trump and propping up and then saying they're pure as the driven snow. And all of these articles you read, they're full of nonsense. Politics is quiet nowadays. And Biden's focusing on policies. Yeah, none of the left doesn't like any of his policies, and they're more militant. We've seen that in the past month, and nothing has been transformative. CNN said he's been the most transformative president in 30 years. Didn't name what? Not one thing the left wants, which would be, in their world, transformative. Not one thing the left wants, not one thing conservatives want. So tell me how he's transformative. They simply have the desired outcome. They don't have somebody who's going to prop up the Constitution or defend the Republic or go after tyrants or whatever. Everything that President Trump started, Biden's taking credit for. So you suddenly have, well, maybe we can see normality in the near future, but it's well, yeah. So what did he do to further this normality? Nothing. If President Trump were in the White House, the same things would have happened. But see, again, media where's the press conference for the president? He hasn't had a press conference. I mean, they would, even with simple questions, they would tear him apart. It would be like Jaws. It would be like 10 great white sharks or 30. But even then, with like calm, they're docile now. The White House press corps, it was like political theater. It was like performance art. They were trying to go after Trump and tear him apart. And look, President Trump, to his credit, took the heat. He didn't get out of the kitchen. Biden's nowhere near the kitchen. So we see what happened with his mic today, which is hilarious. Which should tell you how wonderful and popular he really is. Oh, yes, he's very popular. Very, 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 very popular. So, look, once the investigation into Hunter, once that is linked to the stream of endless emails and business associates that were only doing business with him because of his family name, see, that's different. Trump's family name does not equate to access to the United States government. The Clintons and the Bidens enriched themselves because of politics. Trump lost money, a lot of money, because of politics. He actually lost millions upon millions in the latest Forbes estimate, and then he has to deal with the legal fees of Southern District prosecutors and other prosecutors just simply going after him. So, tell me how he made out financially. He didn't. But it was 92% negative media coverage in a world that runs on media coverage, on public relations, on social media, algorithms. So tell me how he made out. Trump didn't need politics. He was already a billionaire. He gave money to Democrats. He gave money to Republicans. He had businesses and hotels around the world. And I'm not certain that every country in the world is going to now do business with him. Not so with Democrats. They enrich themselves from politics. It's a completely different ballgame. So give me your thoughts below. Be here on this channel tonight at around 10:30 p.m. this evening. Thank you so very, very much. Once we get 2022, the Republicans in the House, once we get them in the House, we'll have the investigations needed to get to the bottom of not only this, but Andrew Cuomo. A whole bunch of ongoing investigations to the Durham probe special counsel. There's so many spinning plates. The Republican Party actually has to get behind these spinning plates and actually make sure they have to make sure they keep spinning. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now, because these are actual potential criminal acts, not the absurd fabricated nonsense with Trump. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you. Be here on the live stream at about 10.